Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia Season 5, Episode 12. And buckle up, because this one's kind of a waste of an episode, and it looks like by the preview, next episode's going to be a little bit of a waste of an episode, too. Not a lot of fans of this season so far. I was enjoying it kind of, for the most part, up to this point, but now I am kind of getting to the point where it's like, you know what, alright, come on, let's continue with the storyline, let's get things going, let's, get into the meat. Stop giving me all the bread. I want the meat. I want the meat of the season. So we kind of start off with a recap, as they always do, which, as if you've been consistently watching these reviews, you know consistently annoy me. But it wasn't a massive recap, so that's perfectly fine. It was only a couple of maybe 30 seconds at best, and then get into the introduction. Shinso has basically, yes, we have confirmation that pretty much he is going to be in the hero course at this point in time, which is pretty cool. We do not yet know which course he is going to be in. So we don't know if he's going to be in Class 1A or Class 1B. I would think it would make more sense for him to be in Class 1A because, he can help Deku activate some of his abilities. Plus, he's got Aizawa there as well to help him training. They're kind of very similar ability types with the ability to, inhabilitate, I should say, their opponents. Moving on from that, we get Bakugo, All Might, and Deku trying to train and get Black Whip to come back out. Deku realizes that, in his mind, he's locked away this power because he knows he's not ready for it. So he's having a very hard time trying to reactivate Black Whip because his body isn't physically ready for it. So he's trying to, manifest himself mentally in order to get Black Whip to come back out. Bakugo gets angry and then just kind of leaves, scurries off into the distance, and that's basically all she wrote. We then go to Class 1A and Class 1B. They're kind of like having a little party, get-together type scenario, and they're like, oh, I wonder how Bakugo and Todoroki are doing because they're out going to try to get their provisional license finally. And then we get to see Cammy and a couple other characters that I'm not 100% familiar with their names. I remember Cammy. Let's see, I got the character list in front of me, so we'll just scroll down to it. Yoshia, Inasha, and then there's also some other random Leaf Girl in there as well, as you can see from the picture in the thumbnail. Not really sure who she is, if she's from like a different hero course or different class or something, or maybe we just never seen this hero in her costume before, so we don't fully know who this person is. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see if she ever comes back. Maybe not. Maybe they would just draw her in there as a filler character. That is a possibility as well. Also, we get to see Miro again, which is nice. Lemillion and Eri. And Mr. Annoying Copycat Guy from Class 1B, Monoma. And he has the ability, obviously, as we know, to copy other people's quirks. So Aizawa was like, hey, let's see if you can copy Eri's quirk, so that way you can show her how to use it properly, because you obviously know how to use a bunch of different quirks because you have the ability to copy them. Unfortunately, Eri, like Deku's quirk, is a stockpile quirk, which basically means that he can copy it, but at the same time he can't utilize it because it takes energy and converts it into something. So the example they used was Fat Gum, where Fat Gum is physically massively overweight because of his quirk, because it's a stockpile quirk. So while he could copy Fat Gum's quirk, he couldn't copy being fat, so it wouldn't really do anything for him. It's just kind of there. So he calls them duds. Basically, he calls the quirk duds. So he knows that Deku's quirk is a stockpile quirk. He knows that Eri's quirk is a stockpile quirk. And he says it happens from time to time where, the base quirk, the original user of One for All, as we know, or All for One, One for All, whatever you want to call it. Kind of both, because they're connected anyway. His ability is just a stockpile quirk. So All for One's brother, who got One for All, he had a stockpile quirk that we didn't know about. So he got all these abilities, and obviously, if you just copy the stockpile quirk and the transfer quirk, I mean, it doesn't really do much. There's nothing you can really do with it. It's like, oh, hey, I can get stronger and then maybe transfer my abilities to the next person, but with just a stockpile quirk itself, nothing you can do about it. And that was kind of lame. I was really hoping he could copy it, because then it's like, oh, guess what? Lemillion gets his powers back right now, is what's about to happen. But no. that's not going to happen. So it's going to be a while. I think Lemillion will eventually, get his powers back. Eri will eventually learn how to control her abilities as well. It's just going to take a while. It's going to take a long time because, seeing somebody do something as opposed to learning it fresh and new and nobody else knows how to do it, as Aizawa has said in the past, it's difficult. It took him 6 months to figure out, his weapon, whereas it took Shinzo a lot quicker because he had someone to teach him how to use it the correct way in the first place, which makes perfect sense. Moving back on to Todoroki and Bakugo, within 30 minutes of them getting their provisional licenses, this group of we'll call them waterbenders, because that's basically what they are. He has the main villain has the ability to control carbon and water, so he can make like carbonated water. So kind of like, think fizzy soda blasting out at high pressure is the best way to describe that. And he has robbed a bunch of people's wallets. He designed the scenario. Then Bakugo and Todoroki get out of the car and pretty easily wipe the floor with them. So Bakugo made sure to get everybody's wallets, get all of their possessions to a safe place. That way they don't get caught up in the fight. Todoroki froze all of the water everywhere, so that way it wasn't causing even more damage. And it was just kind of neat to see them, kind of team up, battle it out, and defeat all of these people fairly easily. It was kind of funny. He was like, who cares? It's just a bunch of people's wallets. It's like, you already protected the people. Let me get the wallets and get away. But no, they had to go one step further, beat all these henchmen up. All Might still trying to be a hero. He ran to protect a woman that was getting too close to the scene with a lamppost almost fell on her, and then Bakugo came to the rescue. Because as we know, All Might at this point is essentially useless, minus his mind. So he's very good for, teaching people things, showing them how to do stuff, but physically he is shot, as we all know at this point in time. And that's kind of where the episode ends. They surprise Todoroki and Bakugo when they come back with a surprise party saying, congratulations, here is all of your cake and your presents, and cool, we can finally team up, do hero stuff together. Bakugo obviously yelling at Deku. The preview looks kind of weird. We don't really know what's going on with the preview. We know next episode is going to be like a Christmas episode, which is kind of weird doing that in June, but I guess if it lines up with the manga, it probably came out initially at Christmas with the manga, which makes sense. But as for what's going to happen next episode, it's probably just going to be like a happy-go-lucky party, maybe a little bit of a recap. We'll see all the Class A, Class 1B, maybe we'll see the big three and Eri show up as well. It'll just be kind of, your happy-go-lucky holiday episode. So don't expect much from episode 13. I think what's going to happen, because we have the 25 episodes, we'll probably finish episode 13. Maybe we'll get that 2-week break. Maybe it'll just go straight into it yet again. There isn't a confirmation yet with the airing schedule, to my knowledge, anyway, from what I've seen. And maybe we will just see what happens in the foreseeable future. If everything lines up correctly, and if we get to finally see League of Villains and Hawks and Endeavor and all of them coming back. I don't really know what's happening in the next arc. I think it's going to be more League of Villains, possibly. We did see a text from Todoroki to Endeavor asking him to, learn more about his fire abilities, because he was talking to Deku and he was like, hey, you have a hidden quirk. How come you didn't show me that quirk? And he was like, oh, I just activated it. It's not like I was holding it back at the Sports Festival. It's just that I think it's like a manifestation of the quirk that I currently have, but I really don't know much about it, which is the truth. So, that was fine as well. Todoroki took it perfectly fine. But he texted Endeavor, was like, hey, I need to get stronger. So show me how to do all of these crazy, funky moves with your fire, so that way I can be more powerful than I currently am. We don't know if Todoroki's flames are as strong as Endeavor's or not. We don't really have that information. If they're equally as strong, if they're stronger, if they're weaker. In my opinion, I would assume they would be weaker, because he's half fire, half ice. So you would think, they kind of contrast each other. So I think it would bring, while he's powerful, very powerful collectively, I think that it would ultimately bring him down a little bit, weakness-wise. Like his fire probably wouldn't be as hot as Endeavor's, and his ice wouldn't be as powerful as his mother's. At least that's my opinion on that matter. There's not really a whole lot of information leading up to that. But I think that's where we're pretty much going to end this episode. It was okay. I wish that I would have seen, maybe some more League of Villains in there. We didn't really need a lot of the Bakugo kind of Bakugo Deku in the beginning of it with All Might. I feel like that was kind of unnecessary to trying to release the quirk. The provisional license thing, yeah, that was fine. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded seeing them do the exam, because that would have been cool to see some of those old characters do the exam again, but I get why they just kind of bypassed it. It was like, oh, here they go, they got it, and now they're heroes. Here's a big fight for the last 10 minutes of the episode. But we'll give this one like a 6 out of 10. It wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible, somewhere in the middle. It was okay. I mean, I was a little bored watching it, I'll be honest. I know a lot of people were like, oh, you know, this season's been super boring so far, not a lot's going on. But the good news is, after episode 13, everything should start picking up. So you'll get one more review of me kind of being bored, and then probably we'll get back into the excitement of this. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, comment down below what you'd like me to do for future anime and cartoon-related content. I have learned that while sex does sell a little bit, because they got a few views on that Nagatoro episode, I lost like 5 subscribers within a couple of minutes, so some people weren't happy about it, so I'll try to tone it down a little bit. Maybe we'll get those 5 people back. Yet again, my name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.